Hello and welcome to UK Versus. Today I'm going to be talking about something very interesting and I'm going to be putting my conspiracy theory hat on yet again. Today I'm talking about Deflect, but in relation to backups. Deflect, introduced in Girl Power, and has also been seen within Godzilla, and I imagine it will be in Attack on Titan as well, which allows you to play the effect before damage and reduce an attack's damage down by the number of the deflect. This effect was poorly received by a lot of the community, myself included. I did talk a lot of trash about it, but with the introduction of backups, I do start to see this mechanic's true potential. Backups are a new card type that have been introduced in Attack on Titan, that are new cards that are built in and then have effects that can be used to influence the game, similar to assets, because they also do not commit to past checks. And unlike assets, these can be dealt with because they have stamina, so you can throw attacks at a backup. The interesting thing about this is you are not able to block attacks thrown at a backup, but you can deflect them. It's a very cool, neat interaction, and I think it's a niche reason as to why backups exist in the game. So my question is, because we cannot block attacks on backups, was Deflect introduced as a way for us to keep our backups alive? Yes, Deflect came in earlier in Girl Power and Godzilla. My response to that is twofold. One, that adding another ability to Attack on Titan when we're already getting Blitz and Shift and backups, and we're seeing a lot more changes to the game in terms of structure, adding another ability on top of that would exceed a lot of players' mental loads in understanding the set, as well as the amount of support needed throughout the set would start to take away from other cards, and it would make the set feel a lot more noisy, even though it is a huge set. The other side to that for me is about the design space and creativity of deck building. In Attack on Titan, we are losing 6 symbols for this set. Who knows when we're going to see them again. And forcing the design team to give enough attuned deflect support to cover all 12 symbols would be an issue, especially when you're looking at some characters that don't even get any support in the next set. But the cool thing about that is if we introduce deflect early like we did, we get to see deflect among all 12 symbols, which means that any player can build their deck on the symbol they want to, without having to rely on the tune cards that may not feel good in their deck, and still play these backups, as the majority of backups we've seen do have the infinity symbol, which means they can be played in any deck. So this allows for things like evil or other decks still have access to these backup cards without then also needing to rely on the tune deflect. They can rely on evil deflect as well to keep their backups alive. When I brought this theory to the Discord, the biggest thing I got back is backups are not impactful enough at the minute for us to be wanting to defend them, which is a fair criticism, but we still haven't seen them all. If you check out the video I dropped on Saturday, you'll see that I have been thinking about the future of backups as well, and the way that they could be integrated with other IPs, and we could start to see backups that we want to defend, we want to keep around, and damage reduction and deflect are the best ways to do that. Well, was deflect brought in as a way to block these attacks, essentially? Was it a way to keep your backups alive? And going along those lines, when I first saw backups, my immediate question to the design team was, will there be ways for them to regain vitality? And they didn't say no. They just kind of gave a cheeky little grin and said maybe. So maybe we're going to see a lot more ways to keep your backups alive. As much as people don't think they're impactful, I've played against the Colossal Titan, I've played against the Armored Titan. They are very, very powerful abilities if you get them to stick on the board. I think the Attack Titan is going to be an issue if you cannot deal with this backup, because it's just going to keep coming at you. So I do think there are backups that do need answers, and I think the biggest thing around them is keeping them alive, keeping their stamina up. My personal headcanon is that Deflect was brought in to protect backups in a very, very cool way. So let me know what you think. Do you think I'm hitting the mark? Do you think that Deflect is a great way to keep your backups alive? I am actually having a lot of fun looking at the more lore and technical side of the design sort of thing. Like looking at why we had 6 symbols was a great one for me. my Star Trek one where I went and looked at what characters we could be getting and actually going into more in depth on the lore is very, very cool. And the more I look into the lore of IPs in comparison to the sets, the more details and the more care I can see the design team putting into these sets. So a huge shout out to Bill, a huge shout out to Tim, and all the other people on the design team that are putting this much effort into making every product feel more bespoke to the world that it's coming from. I will catch you all in the next one. And like I said, if you've got any questions you want about my theory, or if you've got any theories you'd like me to cover, leave them down in the comments. Bye!